Mamu and Patty are a couple based in Mexico who make a habit of investigating locations rumored to be haunted. On one particular outing, they venture into a cursed forest tied to the baffling disappearance of a woman who was never found. But when they return home, the couple claims the eeriness didn't stay behind in the trees.
No mames, no seas mamador, no seas mamón, güey. No. Allá adentro no hay nadie, ¿eh? Se los juro que allá adentro no hay nadie, güey. El cuarto está completamente solo.
¿Ahora qué mames? No sé, lo grabas.
Aquí estamos nosotros. Sí, lo grabé. Checa, se va a ver.
Mamu and Patty begin to suspect that something from that forest made the trip back with them. Their leading theory is that it could be the restless spirit of the missing woman, unable to find peace. Before long, the disturbances inside their home grow so severe that the whole family is being jolted awake in the middle of the night.
¿Quién eres y qué quieres? Espérate. Ten cuidado, te vas a caer. Ay, cabrón.
Hay que bajar.
Ay.
En nombre de Jesús. Te ordeno que te largues de nuestra casa.
From somewhere within the house, the two hear what can only be described as a woman weeping. Mamu goes room to room searching for the source, but finds nobody. The couple regularly streams their paranormal experiences live, wanting their audience to witness everything in real time. Then one night, the family is disturbed again by sounds just outside their bedroom door, and Mamu immediately pulls out his phone and goes live.
Espérame aquí.
Yo te ordeno en nombre de nuestro Señor Jesucristo que te alejes, que te vayas.
Oyes.
No tienes cabida en este hogar. No tienes cabida en nuestras vidas. En nombre de Jesucristo yo te expulso y te despojo de este lugar. Te despojo. Lárgate.
People watching the stream begin pointing out what appears to be a woman's face peering in through the window, something Mamu himself doesn't notice right away. It's only after catching up with the live chat that he realizes something may have appeared behind him.
En la ventana. ¿En esa?
¿Qué hijo?
En la ventana de las escaleras. Esa. ¿Qué vieron ahí? Sí, ¿qué vieron?
¿Qué había?
¿Qué había? ¿Pero qué?
Ay, no.
No mames, No manches,
Mira.
no. Sí, no
Mira.
puede, es imposible que haya alguien ahí parado. Y les voy a demostrar por qué. Ay, Dios, ya me da cosa bajar, hija. Miren.
No hay manera de que nosotros podamos subir a la azotea.
No, miren, ahí está la ventana, ¿sale? Jálale aquí, gato. Ay. Chéquense. ¿A dónde está la ventana? ¿Ya vieron? O sea, son aproximadamente como 4 o 5 metros a la ventana.
Mamu then turns the camera to show the exterior of the house, and that's when the footage becomes truly difficult to dismiss. That window sits on the second floor, well beyond the reach of anyone simply standing outside. So what exactly did that live stream pick up? If something genuinely followed Mamu and Patty back from that forest, it may have just revealed itself. A chilling clip uploaded under the username Spooky Spaghetti was recorded inside an unlit bedroom. The camera is pointed toward a nearby bed just a short distance away, as if whoever is filming has picked up on some unseen presence lurking somewhere in the room. Nothing seems to be moving at first, yet something deeply unsettling has already crept into the frame. Peeking above the far side of the bed is the ghostly pale face of what looks like a spectral woman. Her dark, hollow eyes appear locked onto the person behind the camera, while the remainder of her form stays entirely hidden from view. For close to 9 agonizing seconds, this female figure holds completely still, watching in silence from the darkness. There's a possibility the face belongs to a real person crouching just out of sight, or it could be a mannequin, a mask, or some cleverly arranged prop. What raises the most suspicion is that she vanishes during a brief moment when the camera's line of sight is blocked, leaving just enough time for someone to slip away unnoticed. The option of a staged or digitally manipulated video can't be dismissed either, but if this footage turns out to be the real deal, it seems to show a pale female apparition silently keeping watch from the shadows. Before disappearing, the moment that this next clip is exactly the kind of thing that makes people like me want to avoid hospitals altogether. A YouTuber by the name of Jonathan Savox was sitting in the waiting area for his girlfriend when he captured something deeply unsettling on camera. In the footage, many viewers are convinced they're listening to someone who may be demonically possessed.
Pas très bien entendu.
T'inquiète pas, toi et ton mec. Ta bouche et ta sale gueule. Et ton pote, ton mec. Vous allez tous crever.
Il y a mon chat, tu l'as oublié. On va tous crever avec nous.
Allez,
Bonsoir, Cindy.
je peux contacter le milieu.
C'est quoi ton but préféré?
Espèce de fils de pute.
Je connais pas.
Bon, maintenant, je me déplace. Et je fous le camp.
Now, to be fair, it could just as easily be a person experiencing a severe mental health crisis, which is entirely plausible in a hospital environment, particularly if this was somewhere near a psychiatric ward. Paranormal or psychological, it almost doesn't matter. What's undeniable is that the screaming you hear in this footage is both absolutely terrifying and genuinely heartbreaking. A truck's dash cam rolling down a poorly lit stretch of road picked up something that's hard to shake. The footage carries that particular unease you only get on an empty road in the dead of night, and then out of nowhere, something deeply unsettling enters the frame. See for yourself what this camera caught. As the truck pushed further down the deserted highway, the dashcam happened to capture a strange figure lurking at the edge of the road. She appeared to be a woman dressed head to toe in white, positioned in an unnerving crawling stance. What makes it even stranger is that she seemed to raise her hand in a wave, a gesture that felt completely out of place given the isolation surrounding her. Looking more closely at the footage, her face comes into view, drained of all color. And that detail alone is enough to send a chill straight down your spine. Right, so a Reddit user going by the name Admirable Wealth You Vintage Creative uploaded a clip to the Paranormal Corner subreddit showing footage recorded inside a New York daycare facility. According to this user, multiple children had been reporting encounters with a scary man they claimed to see in the playroom. Those words sent a chill through the staff, who had absolutely no clue who the children were referring to. On top of that, there were several incidents where one of the cleaning staff would head down to the basement and discover toys had been arranged into a circle, as if placed there deliberately. The sight was so disturbing it would reduce her to tears as she fled back upstairs. Then one day, with freshly installed security cameras running, something truly terrifying was recorded. Inside what appeared to be the playroom, a toy seesaw began rocking on its own with no one around it, and the moment that motion came to a stop, a ball started rolling across the floor by itself. It was almost as though whatever energy was behind this was drifting through the room, because next a basket sitting on a table suddenly toppled to the ground. When staff reviewed the footage, they were completely stunned, and it didn't take long before they started questioning whether the so-called mean man the children kept mentioning was responsible for all of it. This clip was originally posted by a journalist who works at a TV station in Ecuador. She says it all unfolded one evening while she was at home with her family, on what appeared to be a completely ordinary night. At some point, her husband got a notification from the motion detectors tied to their home security setup. Since that area of the house should have been empty, he wasted no time pulling up the camera feed to find out what had set it off, and what the family saw when they looked at the footage left all of them without answers. As you can see, there's a figure positioned in the center of the living room. It carries the outline of a human being, yet it appears unnervingly pale and almost see-through. Your first instinct might be that a family member simply passed by the camera at that moment. The issue is that the figure shows no sign of movement whatsoever. It remains perfectly motionless until suddenly, within a matter of seconds, it is simply no longer there. Nobody is shown walking out of the room, and there is nothing in the footage that accounts for how it vanished. Unsettled by what had been recorded, the journalist decided to post the image online, where she gave her followers a bit more context about what had been going on in the house.
Amigos, que es la primera vez que me pasa esto. Yo vivo en esta casita que es de mi mamá, pero digamos que es una casa en la que solo vivimos mi hija, yo y mi esposo. La compramos más o menos como hace unos 3 años. Siempre hemos escuchado cosas, por ejemplo, que corren sobre todo, como pasos, siempre como que corre la gente. Y sí ha sido algo que nos ha llamado la atención, sobre todo porque esto ocurre como a las 12, 1 de la mañana. ¿Y qué es lo que hace mi esposo? Sale corriendo a ver quién está afuera, pero no hay nadie. Pero lo que vimos ayer ya es otro nivel. Lamentablemente yo estaba sola, con mi perrita, con mi hija, y mi esposo me mandó un mensaje, más o menos como a las 11, yo ya estaba casi dormida, y me dice: mi vida, les voy a poner acá también el chat para que vean ya. Y me dice: ¿usted bajó a la cocina, bajó a la sala? Y le digo: no, ¿por qué? Y me dice que la cámara que tenemos ha registrado unos movimientos extraños y que me iba a mandar unas fotos. Bueno, nuestras cámaras digamos que no son tan caras, son solamente por seguridad que hemos comprado, ¿no? Entonces digamos que no graban en tiempo real, tampoco almacenan cosas porque obviamente están conectadas ahí al celular todo el tiempo. Pero sí, te manda alertas y te manda fotos de lo que ella capta. Antes nunca había captado esto. Y no sé, o sea, no sé ustedes qué ven, pero yo siento que es una persona, siento que es un hombre. Y a mí les juro que me asustó mucho, más que por mí, es por mi hija. Porque yo digo, no sé si que sea bueno, sea malo, que sea. Tal vez, yo quiero pensar que tal vez fue una falla de la cámara. No sé, que tal vez algo quiso captar o no sé, o sea, no sé a qué se deba. Yo en un principio pensé que algún delincuente, algún ladrón se entró a la casa, aunque es muy difícil, ¿no? Porque estamos en un lugar un poco seguro, pero cuando yo veo eso, o sea, sí veo que es como que borroso, ¿no? O sea, no veo como que si fuera algo sólido, sino más bien como algo transparente. Entonces, sí me da un poco de miedo, yo logro ver.
She revealed that this was far from the first strange thing the family had encountered there. A series of unexplained events had already taken place throughout the home, which had led them to believe that some kind of presence might have taken up residence. Now, one image alone is never going to be definitive proof of something paranormal. The motion alert could have come from a malfunctioning sensor, a trick of light, or some form of camera distortion. Still, given that the silhouette holds a distinctly human form and vanishes without any trace, a truly satisfying rational explanation is hard to come by. For this family, the recording simply confirms what they had already begun to feel, that something may be sharing their home, drifting between rooms long after everyone else has settled in for the night. Late one night at an airsoft venue somewhere in Wales, UK, the facility was closed to players, yet the site owner spotted something deeply unsettling when reviewing the security footage. A figure dressed in dark clothing can be seen moving away from the camera before the night vision kicks in and the image loses clarity. You can also make out the sound of wood knocking together. As we can see, that initial sighting was recorded back in 2024. Then, more than a year later in 2025, the very same figure turned up on camera again. This time around, a staff member was tidying up the site, and it's clear there's no one else anywhere near him. Then out of nowhere, the figure in black materializes on the left side of the frame, moving toward the camera with a cane, completely unnoticed by the staff member, and with no one else confirmed to be on the property at the time. So what exactly are we dealing with here? A creepy trespasser? Or something that goes beyond any rational explanation? It's hard to say. On June 28, 2017, a group of friends posted a YouTube video of themselves just having fun, goofing off, singing, and hanging around inside a house together. For roughly the first minute, everything feels carefree and totally ordinary, but then the atmosphere takes a turn. While one of the guys stands right in front of the camera mid-song, a sharp and sudden knocking sound rings out from somewhere deeper in the house. It's loud enough to instantly freeze everyone in the room. The singing dies, and the vibe shifts in a heartbeat. Unsettled and clearly curious, the group sets out to track down the source of the noise, moving from room to room, checking corners and darker areas, and then they come across something.
Dạ. Đợi gáo đâu. Đợi xin lạ đi à.
Tucked into a corner and half swallowed by shadow stands what appears to be a tall, pale figure. It has the shape of a human form wrapped tightly in white cloth, completely still and seemingly staring outward. The instant the group spots it, they erupt into screams and bolt from the area in a panic before the footage abruptly ends. The person who uploaded the video later stated that he believes what they encountered was a Pocahontas spirit rooted in Indonesian folklore, typically depicted as a corpse bound in a burial shroud. Looking at the figure's appearance, that comparison feels anything but accidental. Believers argue the likeness is far too striking to dismiss, pointing specifically to the rigid stance and the shroud-wrapped silhouette. Then again, a staged explanation is entirely on the table. Someone standing motionless in a costume, deliberately positioned in a shadowy corner with the right lighting and timing, could produce exactly this kind of jarring reveal without much difficulty. Regardless, the pairing of that unexplained knock and the silent shape lurking in the dark creates something genuinely unnerving. Whether it's folklore made real or a carefully executed prank, It's the sort of image that doesn't leave your mind easily once you've seen it. Following clips come from the TikTok account shown on screen right now. It belongs to a woman named Giselle, who says she's been dealing with absolutely terrifying activity inside her apartment activity, so disturbing that at one point she had no choice but to flee in the dead of night and drive away just to feel some sense of safety. Over the past several months, she's been posting footage recorded by her in home security cameras, building a documented record of these unsettling events. It all started with what seemed like a minor, easy to dismiss moment while she was doing laundry one evening. At the time, she didn't give it much thought. She did what most of us would do and chalked it up to nothing. But when she went back and reviewed the security footage, something about it didn't sit right. It turned out to be the very first strange incident ever recorded in that apartment. What Giselle had no way of knowing was that this small moment was just the opening chapter of something much darker. Then, only a few days afterward, her camera picked up this. At this stage, Giselle could no longer convince herself these were just coincidences. There was a feeling that something in the apartment had shifted, and she began to sense that she wasn't the only presence there anymore. Then, one night, while she was lying in bed, something about her motion-detecting bedroom camera caught her attention. This camera only switches on when it picks up movement in the immediate area. That night, she was completely alone, and yet the camera began registering motion right near her bedroom door.
Tengo miedo.
Over the days that followed, the incidents grew increasingly difficult to dismiss. They were no longer scattered or random, they were escalating, becoming more frequent, more aggressive, and far more targeted. Giselle began to feel as though whatever was in that apartment was deliberately trying to terrorize her. She was tending to something inside her closet when she suddenly felt a distinct touch on her back. She spun around in shock and noticed a bag sitting on a nearby table beginning to move by itself. But the single most horrifying moment came late one night while she was sound asleep in her bedroom. She jolted awake after hearing a noise from just outside the room. What unfolded in the next few seconds was enough to send her running straight out the front door.
Obviamente no me voy a levantar a ver qué es, pero tengo miedo, estoy temblando del miedo. Si pasa algo... ¡Eh! No mames. No mames. Creo que hay alguien atrás de la puerta. O algo. Tengo miedo. Tengo miedo. Tal vez era mi imaginación, no miré mal. Pero salí corriendo de ahí porque ya no puedo. Ya no puedo, ya no sé qué hacer. Son las 4 de la mañana. Pero sé que había algo ahí, sé que miré algo y no estoy loca. No estoy loca. Tengo que entrar a trabajar al rato y no he dormido nada. Estoy nerviosa.
It appeared as though some kind of figure, human or otherwise, was standing just on the other side of her bedroom door. She was so shaken that she left the apartment immediately and drove all the way to her workplace in the middle of the night. She did eventually return home, but a thorough search of the doorway turned up absolutely nothing that could account for the shadow she had seen. Given everything that's been captured on camera, she's now convinced that something malevolent has taken up residence in her home. Giselle hasn't posted any new updates since, so the situation remains unresolved. What's your take on what's going on here? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. He was going through his security camera recordings, and nothing could have prepared him for what he found. This unsettling and baffling footage was captured by a surveillance camera in a small village in Brazil. According to the owner, he woke up early one morning to discover that the fencing around his horses had been completely torn apart, and a significant portion of his herd had vanished. His initial assumption was that someone had stolen them, so he pulled up the security footage to identify the culprit. But what the cameras had actually recorded was something far more disturbing and inexplicable. And here it is. Without any warning, a small, dark, semi-transparent shape materialized out of thin air and began moving through the stable, sending the horses into a frenzy. Even more alarming was what happened next. The figure disappeared in an instant, as though it had never existed at all. The man was left completely shaken and horrified after watching the recording back, and to this day he has absolutely no explanation for what that entity could have been. Many who have seen the footage believe it shows an actual apparition. What do you, Andrew, a travel vlogger, had booked a remote Airbnb for the night completely isolated, nothing but open land in every direction. Things felt calm at first, but that changed when he started picking up strange sounds from outside while he was in the shower. Unsettled and wanting answers, he pulled out his phone and hit record.
Open my Airbnb while I was in the shower. Hello? What the? Hello?
just me, guys, in this Airbnb. So it's literally just me out here. I'm in Indio, and literally no one else is around. It's literally all empty. I usually don't post content like this. What was that? Hello? Guys are there. Hello? I'm gonna get inside. Okay, I don't know what's going on ahead. I don't know what's going on out here, guys. I'm definitely gonna check out my B&B if this keeps up, y'all. I'm dead ass gonna just hop in my car. I'm gonna lock all the doors in the house.
The moment he walked out the door, the quiet kept getting broken, distant knocking, the rustle of movement, and what a lot of people in the comments swore sounded like a child's voice somewhere out in the dark. He swept the area with his flashlight, but there was nobody there. No explanation, no sign of anyone. That only deepened his unease. Whether it was some kind of animal moving through the brush or something altogether more sinister, nobody can say for certain, and Andrew's footage has left everyone watching to make up their own minds. A man named Techrax decided to visit a natural hot spring out in the Nevada desert called Diana's Punch Bowl, though most people know it by its far more unsettling nickname, the Devil's Cauldron. Once he arrived, he came up with an unusual experiment to run.
We're gonna use a drone to take this iPhone up and drop.
His idea was to tie a smartphone to a drone using a fishing line, lower it down into the opening, and see how the phone held up, while also getting a look at whatever might be lurking below. The first attempt yields nothing out of the ordinary, so he starts recording again and sends it down even further, and what he captures this time absolutely terrifies him.
It's fully working, it is on. I'm gonna hit record again on this iPhone 11. Ooh, that was close.
Rising up from deep inside the Devil's Cauldron are sounds that can only be described as tortured, agonized wailing, something that was completely absent during his initial drop.
Include this one little segment here as well, guys. I noticed after listening to the audio of the last drop test that went into the water, the audio sounded pretty eerie, and I wanted to include kind of the unaltered version here. So I have the clip here. It was 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and I edited, for the actual video, because it's just a lot of talking, and then the drone is flying, and then I'll show you guys the actual drop here. And then right there, you could hear, it definitely sounds like some yelling. It's really weird, guys. I don't know what to think of it. Especially since the first dip there was no noise at all. And then the recording actually stopped right here, which is also really weird. But I just wanted to show that, guys, as proof.
Skeptics suggest it might be a technical glitch caused by the extreme heat, since temperatures inside the cauldron can reach anywhere from 140 degrees Fahrenheit to well above 200. But local folklore tells a different story. Indigenous tribes are said to have regarded this place as a spiritual void, a gateway inhabited by powerful spirits and wandering lost souls. So when you consider the sheer depth of that pit, the name it carries, and those chilling cries that sound like souls in pure agony, what do you believe is really going on down there? There was no reason for this man to think his night would take the turn it did. He was inside his own home, a place he knew inside and out, and nothing about the day had given him any warning of what was about to unfold. Then his door slammed shut, not gently, not gradually, but with a force that carried real weight behind it. Not the kind of thing you chalk up to a passing breeze or a warped frame, or any of the usual explanations the brain automatically cycles through when something goes wrong inside a house.
Phone, look at that windows wide open, door. What the? No. There's some there. That is 100% a person in my shed. Yep, that's my shed. That is.
He had it all on camera, and what made this more than just a door swinging too hard was what came immediately after. A sound, originating from somewhere near that door, deep, throaty, and completely out of place for the inside of someone's home. A growl, emanating from a spot where anything producing that noise, a person, an animal, anything with a body, would have been plainly visible.
Hey! And I saw something on the Ring camera. I see movement. Who's up here? Hey, come on, is somebody up here? Hey. Look, come on, man, please.
And yet he walked toward it, despite every instinct that moment might have triggered, despite everything telling him to stay put. He moved in its direction. The camera kept rolling the whole time, recording him as he made his way slowly through the darkened house, calling out into the quiet, repeatedly demanding to know who was there. His voice had that unmistakable quality of someone fighting to hold it together, someone working overtime to project calm, while feeling something far from it. No one called back. Not once. He went through every room with the kind of thoroughness that comes from desperation every corner, every potential hiding spot, every place where something might reasonably be waiting. Behind doors, inside closets, down darkened hallways, and came up completely empty every single time. Each space looked exactly as it always had, untouched and unremarkable, giving him nothing to work with and no trace of any other presence.
Please, if somebody is in here, the police will be here in 5 minutes.
The house offered him only silence in return, a silence that seemed to deepen with every step, dense and unbroken, wrapping itself around him as he moved. No shuffling, no distant noise, nothing to meet the questions he kept throwing into the dark. Just that same suffocating stillness trailing him from one room to the next. He eventually told whatever might be in there that he was contacting the police, delivering the warning with the kind of forced authority of someone who needed to feel in control of something, anything, in a moment that had taken all of that away. It made no difference. No response came, nothing stepped forward, nothing gave itself away. The door that had slammed sat motionless. The growl that had followed it had no traceable origin, and the house stayed exactly as quiet and exactly as empty as it had absolutely no right to be. Montana resident by the name of Eric O'Day runs an Instagram account that, under normal circumstances, has no connection whatsoever to the paranormal. His page is typically filled with everyday snapshots of his job and personal life. But roughly 3 months back, Eric began posting a string of videos documenting strange, inexplicable sounds echoing through his basement and various parts of his home. For months, the actual source of those disturbances stayed just out of frame until he finally caught something. He recently shared this chilling clip, which he believes exposes the true nature of whatever has been inhabiting his house. As he gradually tilts the camera up toward the hallway, a dark, looming shadow figure becomes visible, peering out at him from just beyond the corner. It's easy to miss at first, but once we zoom in and boost the brightness, the unmistakable outline of a figure standing in the darkness becomes crystal clear. The shadow then smoothly pulls back and disappears into the dark. Eric summons the courage to step into the hallway, yet there is simply no place for a real person to be concealing themselves. The side where the figure appeared has no interior doors at all, only the main exterior door, which Eric confirms was fully locked. The figure seems to have dissolved into nothing. Then, as Eric swings the camera toward the staircase, you can plainly hear the distinct thud of heavy footsteps creaking across the floorboards overhead, despite Eric insisting he was completely alone in the house that entire night. Next video was originally posted on July 10th, 2022 by a TikTok user going by the name Diego Spickers. For quite a while now, unsettling rumors have been quietly circulating through one particular neighborhood, the kind of talk that only gets passed around in low whispers. Locals describe something that moves through the streets late at night, not in a hurry, not wandering without purpose, but traveling from house to house with what seems like calculated intention. In some accounts, it even lingers outside certain homes just long enough to look in through the windows before disappearing back into the dark. Most people brushed it off at first, just fear getting the better of people, stories growing with each retelling. But when multiple residents started reporting the exact same details, the rumors became a lot more difficult to dismiss. Then one night, a man returning to his tattoo shop had an encounter of his own one that made everything those neighbors had been saying feel suddenly, unsettlingly real. He had headed up to the rooftop terrace to collect some laundry that had been left out to dry. As he makes his way over to it, he spots a figure close by. And what turns this moment into something truly chilling isn't just the appearance itself, it's how precisely it lines up with what others in the area had already been describing. After sharing the footage with people nearby, several of them said they had witnessed something alike before a presence briefly showing up outside windows, watching without a sound, then vanishing before anyone could get close enough to confront it. That's the point where theories about the paranormal start to take hold. Some people believe the figure may be connected to the history of the surrounding area, something ancient, something that hasn't been identified. Diane, who goes by the username Kaini Nana and is known for her cooking and travel content, steps away from her usual style to share something that caught her completely off guard. She posted a nighttime recording from a camera set up in her living room that picked up something she can't explain. As the house sits in complete silence, the camera reveals the shadowy outline of what appears to be a female figure drifting through the room. Even her cat Noah seems unsettled by whatever is there, his eyes tracking the movement of the shape with quiet intensity. Diane claims she has always had a sensitivity to the spirit world and had been picking up on an unfamiliar presence in her home for several months leading up to this. The figure she managed to capture, which she describes as an older woman with long flowing hair, feels to her like the confirmation she had been waiting for. So, is this genuinely something from the other side? Or is there a perfectly rational explanation waiting to be uncovered? This is a woman who treats her 2 dogs like family. One evening, after coming home from a night out at the movies, she noticed one of her dogs acting strangely and barking in an unusual way. She pulled up the CCTV footage to figure out what had set him off, and what she found recorded on that camera was nothing short of deeply unsettling. See for yourself. In the recording, one of the dogs begins making strange sounds and pawing at a closet on the left side of the room. Without warning, an invisible force sends the dog flying backward with a violent shove. The dog erupts into frantic barking aimed directly at that spot, yet there is absolutely no visible person or creature inside the closet. Once the clip spread across the internet, skeptics were quick to call it staged, insisting that Jess herself must have been concealed inside the closet. But then, a follow-up clip surfaced that left those same doubters struggling to explain themselves.
There's the camera looking down at them. This is where they hang out while we're gone. This is their leashes. This is a cabinet door that fell off of our cabinet.
It turned out there was no actual closet at all. What viewers had been looking at was simply a freestanding door, propped against the wall, making it physically impossible for any person or animal to be hiding behind it. So what exactly knocked the dog back? A handful of viewers suggested it could have been an involuntary flinch triggered by the dog spotting an insect. However, given that the camera angle makes an insect difficult to rule out, the sheer force and velocity of the impact seemed far beyond anything a simple startle reflex could produce. That left many viewers with only one conclusion, that something invisible, possibly paranormal, was sharing the space with Jess and her dogs. Graveyard shift. A security guard pulling an overnight watch at a cemetery decides to shoot a quick clip for his brother-in-law, just to give him a taste of how unsettling the place feels once the sun goes down. He makes his way into the on-site crematorium to get some footage, and that's where everything takes a turn.
Lights, they turn off automatically at a certain hour. And I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna walk you through I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out.
As he moves further into the chamber where bodies are prepared, the audio on his phone begins cutting out and distorting. Then he stops dead in his tracks after catching a sharp metallic clinking sound coming from somewhere close by. He swings the camera around, and that's when he spots one of the urns that's actually holding someone's remains, and the lid is shifting. It tilts slowly upward, as though something within is pushing against it, and at that point he figures he's had more than enough. He turns toward the exit, but then movement catches his eye again, this time near the doorway. The curtains are drifting back and forth despite the air being completely still, and then, plain as anything, something from the other side shoves them open, and that's all it takes. The guard bolts. So is there something haunting the crematorium on these cemetery grounds? Could it be that the souls of the dead aren't quite ready to move on? Next on our list is a clip posted to TikTok by a user going by DanielMakesBeat5, who says his Ring doorbell camera picked up something deeply unsettling roaming through his backyard in the middle of the night. On the surface, nothing looks out of the ordinary, but if you watch carefully, you'll spot something that's a lot more difficult to rationalize. See for yourself. Did you catch that? A dark, shadowy shape briefly passes through the backyard before vanishing into the night. In the video's description, Daniel mentions this wasn't a one-time occurrence. He claims to have encountered this mysterious figure on several separate occasions near his trailer, and he even raises the possibility that what he's seen could be a skinwalker. Now, as creepy as that silhouette looks, it's important to keep in mind that Ring cameras are known for heavily compressing their footage, especially in low light conditions. When you factor in the infrared night vision and the way motion gets processed, A completely ordinary person or even a random object can lose all its defining features and show up as a featureless dark mass, making the whole thing look far more sinister than it might actually be. That said, even if there's a mundane explanation here, this is a remarkably unsettling piece of footage, and it's not hard to see why it set off such a fierce debate in the comments. So what do you think Daniel's camera caught lurking in his backyard that night? A man by the name of Michael had been sound asleep when he was jolted awake by peculiar sounds echoing through his home. Unsettled by what he was hearing, he picked up his camera and began filming as he went to track down the source. Then, just moments into his search, things took a deeply unsettling turn. A knock rang out from behind a shut door, and the instant he spun around, it began to swing open on its own. Over by a curtain, something seemed to shift and pull back, almost as though a figure had been lurking there. Michael darted over to check it out, only to find the space completely vacant. So what do you think was actually going on? The following clip was recorded at around 2 o'clock in the morning by a security guard carrying out a routine patrol inside a modern office building. It's the kind of shift that's usually uneventful: empty hallways, silent offices, and the occasional elevator check. Wearing his uniform, with a radio clipped to his belt, he walks through the building as he normally would, documenting the patrol on his phone. Then, without warning, the lights go out. Watch. When the emergency lighting comes on, the guard appears to stop and begins speaking to someone just outside the camera's view. From his body language, it looks like he's having a normal conversation, pausing as though listening to replies before speaking again. That's when his radio crackles to life. His coworker asks who he's talking to. Confused, the guard answers that he's speaking with an elderly woman. The response comes back almost immediately. There's nobody there. The guard slowly turns the camera back toward the hallway. It's empty. Stories like this have circulated among night shift workers for decades. Security guards, hospital staff, and cleaners often describe encounters with what appear to be ordinary people, only to discover moments later that no one else was ever there. In paranormal folklore, these are sometimes referred to as full-bodied apparitions, figures said to appear completely solid, capable of looking so lifelike that witnesses don't immediately realize anything is unusual. Still, one detail continues to unsettle viewers. The guard doesn't react as though he's frightened. He reacts like someone whose normal conversation was interrupted, only to discover he'd apparently been talking to empty space all along. The following video was captured by a home security camera mounted high in the corner of what appears to be a living room, overlooking the entire space from a wide angle. It's daytime. The room is completely empty, and for nearly 20 seconds, absolutely nothing happens. Watch. Without warning, the cross abruptly rotates a full 180 degrees, flipping completely upside down in a single, instantaneous movement. At the exact moment it turns, a faint clicking sound can be heard, almost as though something released it. Roughly 15 seconds later, a second event unfolds. The door on the right side of the room, which had been standing fully open the entire time, begins to move on its own before suddenly slamming shut with enough force to echo throughout the house. But those weren't the only details viewers noticed. Many claim they could hear faint voices and low moaning sounds beneath the recording. Others pointed out what they believed were shadowy forms moving across parts of the room, slipping through the frame so subtly that they're easy to miss on a first viewing. The inverted cross immediately became the center of the discussion. While an upside-down cross has historical meanings in Christianity, most notably its association with St. Peter, in modern horror and paranormal culture, it has become strongly linked with demonic symbolism. Because of that, many viewers interpreted the sudden inversion as something far more sinister than a loose piece of decor. Skeptics argue that a loose mounting bracket, vibration, or an unusual imbalance could have allowed the cross to rotate, and that the door may simply have been pulled shut by changes in air pressure. The reported whispers and moving shadows, they say, could easily be products of audio compression, background noise, or the brain's tendency to find patterns where none exist. But for those who believe the events are connected, the sequence feels deliberate. First, the cross turns, then the voices, then the shadows, and finally, the door slams shut. The second clip comes from the same homeowner, this time late at night. Before he even begins filming, it's obvious something has already frightened him. He's standing silently inside the house, one finger pressed against his lips as he listens toward an old basement door. Slowly, he reaches for the vintage glass doorknob and eases it open, the old wood groaning as it swings inward. Watch. According to him, before he started recording, he could clearly hear footsteps moving below him, followed by what sounded like faint laughter. He says the camera failed to capture most of those noises, but after opening the door, another sound became noticeable. Soft, layered whispers echoing from somewhere in the darkness. To him, they didn't sound like ordinary conversation. He described them as resembling a whispered ritual, with several quiet voices blending together just beyond the edge of hearing. Many paranormal investigators consider unexplained whispers and disembodied voices among the most commonly reported phenomena in allegedly haunted locations, particularly in basements and other enclosed spaces. Some believe these recordings fall under what's known as electronic voice phenomena, EVP, while skeptics argue that echoes, distant neighbors, household plumbing, or the brain's tendency toward auditory pareidolia can make random sounds seem like recognizable speech. Whether those whispers originated from someone hidden below, or from something the microphone captured that wasn't obvious to the human ear, the homeowner never went any farther into the basement, sometimes not knowing what made the sound feel safer than finding out. This next video was recorded inside a convenience store late at night, and what you're about to hear makes it immediately clear that the woman behind the camera had already been watching this unfold for a while before she started filming. She calls out to her coworker Jorgito, asking what fell, keeping her voice steady, but it's obvious she already suspects something beyond a dropped bag of chips. According to her, the activity had been going on all afternoon, long enough that customers in the store had already started to notice. That detail alone is worth sitting with. Watch.
Jorgito, Jorgito es uno de mis compañeros de aquí de trabajo. ¿Qué pasó, hijo? ¿Qué se cayó? Vean, 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 vean. Ahí ya empezaron a abrir. Vean, observen. Híjole, vamos a tratar de no acercarnos, Jorgito, porque vean cómo se están abriendo las puertas. Vamos a ver de aquel lado. Ahí se ve cómo se están abriendo y cerrando. Toda la tarde estaba pasando esto, y inclusive ya hay gente que se dio cuenta, clientes. Y híjole.
The refrigerator doors along the back wall begin swinging open and slamming shut on their own. Not in sequence, not mechanically, but erratically, one after another, some gentle and drifting, others snapping shut with real force. She keeps urging Jorgito not to get closer, narrating the whole thing in disbelief. The environment itself makes this harder to dismiss. A brightly lit, fully visible store, no wind, no apparent vibration, and multiple doors behaving independently of each other. Skeptics point to pressure differentials in commercial refrigeration units, arguing that a seal failure or compressor issue could cause doors to swing open, but that doesn't account for the violent, irregular slamming or for the fact that it had reportedly been happening for hours across different parts of the store. Some who've seen the footage think the building itself may carry some kind of residual charge, the kind of low-level energy that tends to manifest through electrical systems and pressure-sensitive mechanisms before it becomes visible in other ways. That interpretation connects directly to what a second person captured inside the same location on a different occasion. Watch.
Miren esto. Paranormal. Chavos. Estoy en un Oxxo. Y todo está apagado. Miren, 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 miren. Wow. En Oxxo. Wow, wow, wow. O sea, miedo, me da miedo, me da miedo. Me da miedo, súper miedo.
The location is an Oxxo, one of Mexico's largest and most recognizable convenience store chains, with thousands of locations operating day and night across the country. Because these stores are open for long hours and monitored by extensive security systems, unusual incidents captured inside them tend to spread quickly online, often attracting both skeptical analysis and paranormal speculation. Electrical faults immediately became the leading explanation for the second clip, and they can't be ruled out. Commercial stores rely on extensive electrical systems, and failures can sometimes produce surprising behavior. but taken together with the refrigerator doors, and one detail many viewers almost missed, the story becomes harder to dismiss. Right at the beginning of the second recording, there's a distinct knock, whether it came from expanding metal, someone just out of frame, or something the employees couldn't see. It's that first sound, more than anything else, that has left people wondering, what exactly was happening inside that OXXO? This next clip was recorded by a man walking through a foggy cemetery at dusk, alone, handheld phone in hand, when something near one of the trees stops him cold. He'd already been unsettled, convinced he'd seen a figure peek out from between two large dark trees, only to walk around them and find absolutely nothing. He describes it as a heavy feeling, the kind that roots you in place, like whatever is nearby is pressing against the air around you. He keeps filming, keeps asking questions out loud, trying to make sense of it. Watch.
Tell me how I just... Well, I thought... Swear I thought I saw somebody peek out from this tree, the left side. I was just looking out towards the cemetery, and the left tree looked like something peeked in between the two. There was absolutely nobody there. And then as I was staring, it looked like there was there's nobody there. I had that heavy feeling. That super heavy feeling. Like I'm close to something. Are you close? Oh, I could feel that. I could feel that heavy presence. Are you close? Holy shit.
The figure never clearly reveals itself, but if you listen carefully toward the end of the recording, you'll hear something else. It sounds unmistakably like footsteps breaking into a run, fast, closing the distance somewhere beyond the camera. Yet nothing ever comes into view. Some viewers believe it's simply an animal moving through the cemetery, with the fog and acoustics making the footsteps sound much closer than they really are. Others suggest the sound could be echoing from outside the cemetery altogether, distorted by the trees and the damp evening air. Those who believe the experience was paranormal point to a phenomenon often reported in alleged hauntings known as disembodied footsteps, the sensation of hearing someone walking or running nearby without ever seeing anyone responsible. Cemeteries, in particular, have long been associated with reports of phantom footsteps, shadow figures, and unseen presences, though there is no scientific evidence supporting those claims. What makes this clip so unsettling isn't that you hear something, it's that the footsteps sound like they're moving with purpose, as if whatever made them wasn't wandering through the cemetery, it was running toward him. This next clip was recorded inside a man's residential garage, a space he'd apparently been using to run paranormal live streams, and where, at some point before this recording, he'd left a motion-activated cat ball sitting on the concrete floor. He wasn't looking for anything unusual when he picked up the camera. He was reacting to something that had already started. 2 loud thuds he says he heard slamming against the garage door from outside. That alone was enough to put him on edge, but when he panned the camera down toward the floor, that small clear ball had already started going. He points out that the fan in the room is directed at him, not toward the ball, and that the ball is designed to only activate when it's physically moved or disturbed. Nothing visible was near it. Watch.
Something just thudded against the garage door twice, and then that freaking cat ball lit up. This cat ball that's been sitting here since about
live stream the other night. There it went again. That thing's been laying there for like, I don't know, 24 hours. It sounded like somebody threw a rock against the garage. And if you hear that fan is pointed at me. It's not pointed over there. So that ain't causing it. This is a concrete floor. Like that thing is only supposed to light up if it's moved, if something moves it. What the fuck? Okay. I'm getting freaked out now. I'm getting rid of this ghost hunting shit, y'all. Yo, this thing is going buck wild. What the fuck is that? Oh my god. Oh my god. I just heard something in the attic. I'm for real wigging out. I am for real wigging out. I know this fucking sign is on the nose. I know the sign is on the fucking nose at this point. I hung it up as a joke because of my live stream.
What starts as an odd, isolated flash quickly becomes something harder to dismiss. The ball cycles through colors repeatedly, eventually going into what he describes as going buck wild, flashing blue, red, orange, and purple in rapid succession, appearing to vibrate on its own against the concrete. And then, when he tilts the camera up toward the attic access, you can hear a distinct wooden creak or thump from above, something he reacts to with immediate panic. Cat balls are a staple of modern ghost hunting precisely because they're motion sensitive and simple. No software, no signal, just physical contact. Skeptics will say a fan oscillation or a draft could cause the sensitivity to trip, but he'd already accounted for that. Others think something was moving through the space, something the camera couldn't frame. He hung that sign as a joke. If you catch what his face sounds like at the end, it doesn't seem like he's laughing anymore. So, what exactly was in that garage with him? Now in this next clip, the same man decides to crawl into the dark crawl space beneath his house at night, armed with nothing but a phone on a selfie stick and its built-in flashlight. He'd placed a motion-sensing cat toy down there earlier to detect any movement, and tonight he's going back in to retrieve it. What he finds along the way makes the trip even stranger. A small, crudely carved stone rabbit sitting in the dirt, nowhere near where anything should have been. He grabs it, keeps moving, and finally works the cat ball loose with the end of his selfie stick. Watch.
See, it goes around the corner. And goes down that way too. And then at the back there, it goes around the corner again. And I've never been all the way back there. Thank you all for the gifts. Sorry, it's hard for me to pay attention. Just keep looking behind me. There's an old-ass Coca-Cola can. Where's the cat ball? That's a good question. I don't know. What is that? That's shiny. It's a weird-looking rock. It's like a little carved thing. What is that, a rabbit? It's like a little carved rabbit. I guess we'll take that with us. Oh, there it is right there. How am I going to get to it? I'm going to have to use y'all to get that thing. I'm going to extend my selfie stick in. It's still working. I guess we can get the cat ball. What the fuck was that noise? Tony, Jesus Christ. Tony, thank you. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go. I already found a fucking bunny rabbit. We got the cat ball. This has been enough, right? This is where it's hard. This is the worst, is getting out of here.
The visuals aren't the only thing that caught people's attention. Many viewers became fixated on the audio. Some insist they can hear what sounds like a cat meowing shortly after he mentions the cat ball. Others believe a child's voice briefly speaks somewhere in the darkness. And another group is convinced the sound is neither of those, but a woman quietly crying somewhere beyond the reach of the flashlight. Whether those sounds are genuine voices, distant ambient noise, or an example of auditory pareidolia, our tendency to hear recognizable voices and random sounds depends entirely on who's listening. Whatever the explanation, almost everyone agrees on one thing. The farther he crawls beneath that house, the less it feels like he's down there alone. What do you hear? The following video was captured by a man named Vishite who says his workplace hasn't felt normal for a long time. What started as small, explainable things slowly turned into something he couldn't ignore. He began noticing shadows moving where nothing should be moving. Then came the physical encounters, scratches appearing on his skin while he was alone, the feeling of being pushed when no one was behind him. For a few weeks now, he has started hearing voices and seeing shadows move where nothing should be. Watch this.
And I'm gonna go outside. So, bro, that's what I'm talking about. Nobody's in this back room, in the cooler. And I'm closing up and I heard this. Nobody's in. See the cameras. Nobody's up in there. I think this door. The last time, there's nobody up in here. Like, nobody.
Many believe this could be a mimic, something repeating his own voice back to him. Others focused on the shadow that appeared, suggesting something was physically there. Some even warned that entities known for mimicry often start with simple words, testing reactions, learning behavior, and getting closer over time. But things didn't stop there. When he posted another video, the situation became harder to explain. Watch.
Hey guys, so look, I'm hearing voices again. Yo, y'all heard that, right? Yo, man, I'm freaking out. Hello? Oh, no. No. That sounded like it was literally in my ear, dude. See, look, nobody is here. Nobody's here. Oh my god, dude, it sounded like something was behind me. Hello? Okay, I'm done with this. You need to leave. Oh my... Dude, you guys hear that, right? You guys hear it? I'm not tripping.
This time, the voice isn't subtle, it's aggressive. Words like die and you're dead are heard clearly enough to make out. Some viewers went further, suggesting it could be something far more dangerous, something like a skinwalker or even a demonic presence, especially considering his earlier experiences with being physically touched and scratched. Because when something is able to move objects, speak, and make physical contact, it suggests a level of strength and control that goes beyond imagination.
Oh, nope, I just got touched. Nope. Okay, so I'm here at work. Bro, I'm telling you, you heard that, right? I'm closing. And I'm like hearing stuff, bruh. I'm like closing right now, and I'm hearing, bruh, come on, man. Nobody's in here. I'm literally closing. Yo. I don't know what's going on with this thing, but it's been like really active here lately. Just wanted to show you guys. There's nobody in the store but me.
Moments like this are deeply unsettling. Imagine standing alone in a quiet building, already on edge, and suddenly feeling something touch you. Not imagining it or thinking it happened, but actually feeling it. Your brain immediately tries to rationalize it. Maybe it was your clothing, maybe your nerves. But deep down, you know when something touches you. And when it keeps happening, it changes how you exist in that space. Every corner becomes suspicious, and every shadow feels closer than it should be. At this point, viewers began warning him about something else: attention. Many believe that reacting emotionally, showing fear, or constantly focusing on whatever is happening can strengthen its presence. Some even say that fear itself can act like an invitation. But when you're alone and something speaks to you, touches you, and follows you, is staying calm even possible? Well, for Vicente, it's hard to just ignore it. After days of having the same thing happen to him at work, people advised him to confront it, and here's how that went.
Leave. Oh, go. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Get out of here. Oh. Leave. Ooh, dude, I'm hearing shit. No. Okay, you just go. Just get out. Leave. Oh, God damn it. See, I got touched by that thing. I'm just letting you go. There's nobody in the store. See, I'm doing what you guys want, and then I'm hearing there's shit going on everywhere, dude. Man. Leave. You need to leave.
As he tells whatever is there to leave, something suddenly pushes him, and if something can touch you, it can reach you anytime it wants. Vicente later revealed something even more unsettling. Other employees had experienced strange things too, hearing voices and feeling watched, but not as often as he has. Almost like whatever is there chose him specifically. A few weeks after his last post, things got worse.
I'm trying to lay down, and these damn lights won't stop going on and off. And I'm the only one here currently, and all my damn cabinets are open. And my remote for the lights are over there. And they just won't turn off. Yo, what the f is that?
Now, it wasn't just his workplace anymore. Cabinets he clearly remembered closing would be open, lights he turned off would turn back on, and he began hearing the same kinds of sounds inside his own home, the same presence, and the same feeling of not being alone. Many believe this could be attachment, when something connects itself to a person rather than a place. Others believe that by documenting it, speaking to it, and confronting it, he may have made himself more visible to it, reinforcing whatever connection had already begun. Because sometimes the moment something realizes you can hear it is the moment it stops hiding and starts getting closer. So what do you think Vicente is really dealing with? And once something starts interacting with you like this, is it already too late to make it stop? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. In this next clip, Nate is still trying to understand what's happening inside his house, and at this point, it's no longer just the occasional strange moment. For weeks now, he's been hearing footsteps when no one else is home. Heavy walking sounds moving from one room to another, doors creaking open slowly, and sometimes even faint whispers late at night when the entire house should be silent. He's woken up to things in different positions than he left them, and there are moments when his dog refuses to enter certain parts of the house, staring into empty space like it sees something he can't. You know how terrifying it is to feel like your home, the one place that's supposed to be safe, is no longer fully yours. That's exactly how Nate feels. Watch this.
I'm literally hearing walking, like right next to me, and swore I heard a muffled voice. It was like I hope the camera's picking that up. I hope my phone is picking that up. What is that?
What you're hearing doesn't sound like the house settling. It sounds like something running back and forth with muffled voices, low, unclear, but definitely there. Some believe this could be what's known as a residual haunting, energy repeating the same actions over and over, but others believe it's something far more dangerous. The disturbing part is, it didn't stop. The stomping and pacing continued for weeks. Then one morning, while Nate was working out, he heard something else.
Hey guys, I'm hoping the phone picks this up. I was working out in here stomping. Right above me is my bedroom. I really hope the phone is picking that up. It was so loud that I actually dropped the weight. God, I hope it's picking that up. Oh my God. What is that? I'm shaking right now. I don't know what the
Toward the end of the video, a voice can be heard saying, "You need me." Some believe statements like that suggest attachment, when whatever is present no longer sees itself as separate from the person, but connected to them, dependent on them, or worse, believing the person belongs to it. And what makes that idea so disturbing is what it implies. If it's attached to him, moving might not solve anything, distance might not matter because it wouldn't be staying in the house, it would be staying with him. Entities like this sometimes create dependency. They observe, they wait, and eventually they make their presence known in a way that makes the person feel chosen, not for comfort, but for control. And now, for the first time, Nate is seriously considering leaving his home. But after hearing those words, he's no longer sure if leaving is the right thing to do, because if something inside his house truly believes he needs it, it may never let him go. If you were in Nate's position, would you stay and try to understand it? Or leave, knowing it might follow? Now in this next clip, popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian visits one of the most feared and talked about locations in Indiana, the Blackford County Jail, hoping to finally understand why so many unexplained incidents are still being reported there. This isn't just another abandoned building, this jail has a long and disturbing history, and many who've entered its lower levels say the basement feels different from the rest of the structure. Heavier, oppressive, like something is still occupying that space. But what makes this visit different is the specific reason Ian went down there. For years, people have reported sightings of what they describe as a little person moving in the basement. Not a shadow, not a vague shape, but something physical, small, and fast. Some believe it's the spirit of a former inmate trapped and unable to leave, but others strongly disagree. They claim what's down there isn't paranormal at all. They believe it's something alive that hides and watches. Watch.
Is there anybody down here? Well, they say that this hole is a portal that spirits can enter. If this is indeed a portal to the spirit world, could you come up out of that hole? Float upward towards me. Little person? Are you down here? Are there any prisoners down here? This is where they kept the worst of the worst. Go!
After hearing that sound, Ian immediately freezes. It isn't the kind of noise old buildings usually make, and it doesn't sound like wood settling or pipes shifting. He stands there, listening carefully, trying to determine where it came from, but the silence that follows is almost worse. Going down there alone didn't sound like a good idea, especially knowing the stories. So instead, Ian decided to wait, hoping to catch even the slightest movement that could explain what he just heard. And then, after a while, he sees this.
Whoa, 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 what did I just see? What did I just see? I just seen something on the ground. Holy crap. It didn't look like a person though.
For a brief moment, something appears small and low to the ground. It moves quickly enough to avoid being clearly identified. But it's there, and it wasn't his imagination. Some viewers believe this could be the little person witnesses have been describing for years, a spirit manifesting in physical form. Others believe something far more disturbing, that there may actually be a living presence hiding beneath the jail, something that has adapted to the darkness, something that knows how to avoid being seen. At this point, Ian has a choice. He can leave knowing he's already captured something unexplained, or he can go further into the one place everyone warned him about. But Ian didn't come all this way to turn back now. Determined to finally uncover the truth, he slowly makes his way deeper into the basement, stepping toward the exact area where the figure had appeared only moments earlier, his light scanning the darkness while the silence around him feels heavier than before, like something is waiting for him to make the next move. Watch.
Oh god. Oh my god. It is so scary down here. Oh. I don't see anything over here. Creepy crawl space. I am not going in there. No. Little person. Are you in there? Oh, dude, what if it snatches my arm? I hear you. He's gotta be down here. Oh. Rock just got thrown at me.
Suddenly, rocks are thrown in his direction, and the timing makes it impossible to ignore because it happens right as he gets closer, almost like a direct response to his presence, like a warning meant to stop him from going any further. And that realization alone is enough to make him think that he may not be alone in that basement after all. For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following video was captured by a group of ghost hunters who decided to explore an abandoned house after several reports suggested something dark was attached to the property. From the moment they stepped inside, they described the atmosphere as heavy, tense, and almost hostile. The kind of place where silence doesn't feel empty, but watchful. Believing the presence to be malevolent, they began praying, hoping to protect themselves and possibly force whatever was there to reveal itself. But according to many paranormal beliefs, prayer doesn't always bring peace. Some say it agitates negative entities, almost like shining a light on something that wants to stay hidden. Watch what happens next.
Bun. Ești sigur? Da. Hai, uite acum zic. Ia. Cred în bunul Dumnezeu, Tatăl Altotțitorul, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului.
Oprește-te, oprește! Băi, Alin, uite alea cum fac bilile toate trei.
Știu unde am rămas.
Ea nu va pleca.
Da, știu când va pleca. Tatăl Altotțitorului, Făcătorul cerului și al pământului, care pretutindeni ai și pe toate le împlinești, vistierul bunătăților și dătătorule de viață, vino și ne slăzășluiește întru noi și ne cu toată închinăciunea. Băi, nebunilor, băi!
Fai de capul meu!
Ce s-o sparg? Nu s-o sparg nimic. Cum să spargă ceva?
Frate, nimic nu.
Doamne ferește. Dar ce să spargă?
Hai de capul meu!
Dar nu se vede.
Frică, nu mai fă, frate, că murim.
Păi da, bine că s-o auzi spart, dar nu-i spart nimic. Deci vă asigur eu că nu-i spart nimic. Ce să fie spart?
Dau arda aici pe mâini, că nu-i jali,
Viewers believe this reaction suggests the presence felt threatened, not comforted by the prayers. Others argue that prayer can act as a form of confrontation, drawing attention from entities that feed on fear or resistance. Whatever the case, the timing is hard to ignore, but until we get more updates about this house, this remains unsolved. Now, in the following videos, a man and his family are convinced they're living with a ghost. In fact, they've gone as far as giving it a name, Ghost Malone, a playful nod to Post Malone, because according to them, the presence feels calm, relaxed, and non-threatening. They say things move around their house almost every night, especially toys, but insist it has never tried to hurt them. Still, many viewers can't help but ask the same question. How long does a spirit stay harmless? Take a look at what a typical night in their home looks like.
It's 3:30 in the morning. I swear on my life. For freaking toy cars. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. No. No, sir. No, ma'am. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know whether to wake Elizabeth or somebody call Justin Nunley or an exorcist. I mean, I'm not scared, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't shaking. So I'm just gonna leave it there till the morning for Elizabeth to come play with it. And it's not electronical, y'all. There ain't no damn motor in that thing. I feel so weird and out of place right now. I don't know if it's still there. To be truthful, I'm thinking about just leaving Elizabeth in Revelation and going somewhere for the night. I don't know what to do. Let's check on it. You still there? Pirates of the Caribbean's getting good. I'm not scared. I'm just kind of freaked out because, like, it's friendly. Has it thrown it?
What immediately stands out is the toy car. It has no batteries, no electrical components, and yet it moves on its own. Some viewers tried to brush it off as coincidence, uneven flooring, or leftover momentum. But those explanations quickly fall apart when you realize this isn't a one-time event, and it's not just one toy. Similar things have happened repeatedly, and after seeing this clip, many people weren't convinced that whatever was in the house was truly harmless. Some believe genuinely good spirits are rare, and when they do exist, they don't usually interact directly with the living. Concerned viewers suggested the father try certain cleansing methods to see how the presence would react, a way to test whether the entity was truly peaceful or simply pretending. So the next morning, he followed some of those suggestions. Watch what happened.
I actually fell asleep, and this is what I woke up to. Elizabeth. Baby. Hey.
Goodbye.
Okay, no, for real, like, so what are we doing? Oh. Okay. Are you... Somebody said salt. Hold on.
I don't know if you're supposed to draw a circle around it.
Well, it's a half circle, but I don't think you're supposed to do anything else. I don't know. Y'all got suggestions? Let me know.
Instead of focusing on the fact that the holy water, salt, and prayers didn't seem to drive anything away, viewers noticed something far more disturbing. If you look closely at the doorway, you can see what appears to be a small, childlike figure standing completely still. That single detail sent chills through the comment section, but that raised another unsettling question. Why did the cleansing attempt seem to have little to no effect? Well, things escalated beyond toys. Watch this.
Are you there? Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Well, that's one of the things that I've discovered.
Whenever the house goes quiet, all he has to do is ask, "Are you there?" And something moves in response. At that point, many viewers said it could no longer be coincidence. But what troubled people even more was the interaction itself. A lot of paranormal believers warn that acknowledging a spirit gives it energy. Others say responding invites it closer, strengthens its presence, or even allows attachment. Despite all of that, the family continues living as normal, still convinced it isn't dangerous. One night, they didn't only check if it was there, they tried to communicate with it. Watch closely.
So we are all sitting here, enjoying our Taco Bell, right? And Ghost Malone was over there shaking the door a second ago. Ghost Malone, if you are still around, do something.
Give us a sign.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nonchalant. Alright, so ironically, I'm watching Ghostbusters, right? Ghost Malone, Ghosty. Yo. Are you kidding? Alright, so I've been asking Ghost Malone some questions. Okay, so 1 time if you're there, 2 times, or I guess no times if you're not. Definitely there, okay. Are you friendly? Okay, okay. Do you like Ghostbusters? No? Okay, do you like movies? Okay, okay. Alright, just on Ghostbusters, I guess it's insulting. Are you here to cause harm? Okay. Okay. Man, I wish I knew Morse code. We'd try that. Are you an older spirit? Okay, but not a bad spirit. Okay. Is there more than one of you?
Many believe dark entities don't reveal their true nature immediately. Instead, they appear calm, friendly, even playful, a tactic often compared to the Annabelle doll, which was first believed to be harmless before far darker activity followed. Because of this, viewers are increasingly convinced that whatever this entity is, it may be growing stronger, not kinder. People urge the family to stop interacting, cleanse the home thoroughly, and protect themselves before things escalated further, but none of the things happening bothers them. Take a look.
So a couple weird things have happened tonight, like my mom's painting over there has moved, and Ghosty, Ghost Malone, you there? Don't judge the trash, it's trash day. Ghosty. Okay. Maxie, what was that? Huh? So we're sitting here. Revelation here,
Hi, Maxie.
It should also be noted that we've had several offers from paranormal people to come here and whatnot. We're down, but there's been a few of them that are private profiles, minus the big ones you guys have suggested. Nobody's reached out, but I don't know. I might take offers for people to just come stay the night so you can see whether it's real or not for yourself. I don't know. But yeah, I am gonna take a list of questions. I've been writing down in the comments all the questions you guys have for Ghost Malone. And then we're going to do the Stranger Things light or dog button things to see if that does anything.
This time, even the dog reacts. As the playpen moves, the dog retreats into its cage, a response many believe animals only show when they sense something threatening. According to viewers, a presence strong enough to move objects, frighten a dog, and respond intelligently isn't something to take lightly. Some believe this entity was never harmless, just patient. But until the family shares more updates, all anyone can do is hope the situation doesn't turn dangerous. Now, in this next video, a guy who goes by the username Mosh moved to Appalachia, and according to him, he hasn't had a single peaceful moment since. Appalachia is one of those places people constantly warn you about. Dense forests, winding back roads, long stretches with no cell service, and generations of folklore that all seem to agree on one thing. If something calls out to you out there, you don't answer. Many believe the land itself holds onto things that don't like being disturbed. Mosh has been documenting his experiences both inside his home and outside, and in several of his earlier videos, paranormal investigators and longtime viewers suggested he might be dealing with what are often called jokester spirits, entities that don't immediately harm you, but thrive on fear, confusion, and reaction. They mimic sounds, footsteps, and voices just enough to make you question your sanity. One night, while walking, Mosh suddenly got the overwhelming feeling that something was following him. Not just a sound, but a presence, staying just out of sight. Trusting his instincts, he checked the camera he installed in the house and saw this. Watch. After reviewing the footage, many viewers say this explains a lot. The unexplained footsteps, the whispers he's heard when no one is around, and that constant sense of being watched. Some believe whatever this is has been testing boundaries, slowly revealing itself once it realized Mosh was paying attention. Others think it's feeding off his fear, waiting for the moment he reacts or responds. So, what do you see in this video? And more importantly, what do you think has been following him this whole time? The following video is shared by a man who had previously documented how everything in his apartment changed the moment he brought home a set of old toys. Almost immediately, the space felt different. Knocking sounds began echoing through the walls, objects shifted on their own, and at times the presence felt so overwhelming that he would lock himself in another room out of fear. But this next video unsettles viewers for a different reason. This time, none of the dolls or toys are visible anywhere in the apartment, and yet the activity continues. Watch closely.
Son las 2 de la mañana, se están escuchando ruidos en la sala. Están moviendo la silla, raza. La madre. Escucho algo acá, raza. Tumbaron el desodorante. ¿Qué estará pasando, anda? Madre.
Whatever is disturbing this apartment hasn't left with the objects themselves. Many believe spirits don't always stay attached to the item that brought them in. Some think the toys may have acted as a doorway, something that allowed an entity to anchor itself to the space rather than the objects. Others argue this could be residual energy, replaying moments of disturbance long after the source is removed. But there's also a darker theory that removing the items only angered whatever was invited in. But what do you think? Now in this next clip, the popular Midwest ghost hunter Ian investigates the Mabel Tainter Memorial Theater, a location widely considered one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin. The theater was commissioned in 1889 by Captain Andrew Tainter and his wife Bertha in honor of their late daughter Mabel Tainter, who tragically died at just 19 years old. In life, Mabel was deeply passionate about music and the arts, and because of that, no expense was spared in the theater's design. From its grand architecture to its detailed interior, the building was meant to preserve her spirit and legacy. While exploring the theater late at night, Ian begins taking photographs inside the theater room when he suddenly hears a loud bang echo through the building. Tracing the noise, Ian follows it to an office once used by Reverend Henry Maxson. Watch closely.
That's his old chalkboard right there. And that is his handwriting. They've kept that preserved. That must have been from his last lecture before dying. Father, if you are indeed in here, could you tap on your chalkboard? Make a tapping sound like you're writing on it. I would be amazed if you did that. What the? That sounded like paper being moved. It was on this desk. Like, whoa, you see that? Dude, look at that. That has to be it. Look at that, it's literally hanging off of the table.
Maxson wasn't just any figure connected to this place. He was the Unitarian pastor who originally convinced Andrew and Bertha Tainter to build the memorial for Mabel. When the building officially opened in 1890, it served not only as a theater, but also as a community center and the permanent home of the Unitarian Society of Menomonee. Maxson himself gave the presentation address at the building's dedication, and for years, Sunday services were held directly on the theater's stage, with Maxson preaching to the congregation. Before leaving the office, Ian decides to set his camera down, leaving it recording as he steps away. What happens next is unsettling. Did Ian manage to capture the ghost of Reverend Henry Maxton still sitting at his desk, tied to the theater he once served? For more haunting videos including Ian, subscribe to the channel now. The following clip was recorded at night inside a house that, according to the man filming, had already been giving both of them reasons to pay attention. The two men had apparently been noticing the double doors at the end of the hallway behaving strangely, opening on their own without explanation. So on this particular night, one of them decided to test it. With a black spatula still in hand from the kitchen, he walks down the hallway, pushes both doors firmly shut, turns back toward the camera, and gestures as if to say, "See, they're closed." The camera person confirms it. There's no wind in there. They settle in to wait. Watch.
Wait, if that's fully shut. Now, right, now let's just sit and wait. He's just fucking lurking. Oh, go off! Right off! Yo, what? Nah. What the fuck?
About 20 seconds after the doors are latched, the right one swings open smoothly and deliberately, with nothing and no one near it. The reaction is immediate. The camera person shouts in complete shock, and their little dachshund wanders over to investigate what they can't. If you watch the door's movement carefully, there's no hesitation, no rattling first. It just opens. Skeptics would point to an unlatched mechanism or air pressure from the kitchen, but the man had just confirmed it clicked shut. So what opened it? In this next clip, someone is lying in bed alone at night, phone in hand, when something in the room stops them cold. Not something they see directly, but something caught in the reflection of a mirrored wardrobe door across the room. The dim lighting, the shaky camera, the panicked breathing, all of it suggests they've already convinced themselves something is wrong before the recording even starts. Watch. The reflection shows the dark space underneath the bed, cluttered and hard to read clearly. But somewhere in those shapes, they're certain they can make out a figure. That panicked breathing doesn't stop. Skeptics point to pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find human shapes in random patterns, especially in low light. But if you've ever lain in bed in the dark wondering what's underneath you, you'll understand exactly why that breathing sounds the way it does. In this next clip, a family is spending an evening at a fast food restaurant when the woman filming notices something unsettling in the large window that looks into the children's playground area. The playground is fully visible from where they're standing, brightly lit, colorfully decorated, and clearly empty. But in the glass's reflection, there's a dark, human-shaped figure sitting perfectly still at one of the tables inside. Watch.
¿Alguien que me explique?
Porque hay una persona ahí, pero no está aquí.
¿Qué onda con esta falla de la Matrix? Sigo sin entender. ¿Qué pedo?
Mira, ¿qué le va a tomar? ¿Qué le va a tomar? Toma.
Te lo juro, delante de Dios que me está oyendo y me está escuchando. Fuimos a la esquina y no había nadie. O sea, nadie cerca de aquí para que...
¿Dónde está esa persona?
Ah, espérate.
Es el mejor.
The family immediately checks the actual playground, panning the camera back and forth between the reflection and the empty space, and the figure never moves, never disappears. The little girl even walks up to the glass to peer inside herself, swearing before God that she went and looked around the corner and found nobody there. That alone is hard to dismiss. Some viewers think it's a trick of the lighting, a reflection from somewhere else in the restaurant bending across the glass at just the right angle. Others aren't so sure, because if you watch the reflection closely, it stays completely consistent as the camera moves, which isn't typical of a simple optical artifact. So who was that? And why was he there?